Behind almost every powerful person in history, there was a hidden understanding of human nature that ordinary people never saw. Kings used it, politicians used it, military leaders used it, billionaires use it today. And according to the 48 laws of power, the world has always been controlled by people who understand power better than everyone else. The scary part? Most people are playing a game of power without even realizing it. Today we are talking about one of the most controversial and dangerous books ever written, The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. This is not a normal self-improvement book. It is a book about manipulation, influence, psychology, status, ambition, leadership, betrayal, strategy, and the hidden social rules controlling human behavior. Some people call this book evil. Others call it genius. But whether people love it or hate it, one thing is certain. Once you understand the ideas inside this book, you begin noticing power games everywhere, in workplaces, friendships, relationships, politics, social media, business, even everyday conversations. Most people grow up believing the world is fair. They believe hard work alone guarantees success. They believe honesty always wins. But Robert Greene explains something uncomfortable. Human beings are emotional creatures driven by ego, insecurity, envy, desire, fear, pride, and status. And honestly, I think this is why the book became so famous. It doesn't describe the world how people wish it worked. It describes the world how it often actually works behind scenes. One of the first laws in the book is simple but extremely powerful. Never outshine the master. This means people in power often feel threatened by those beneath them. Even talented people fail because they accidentally make their bosses, leaders, or mentors feel insecure. And honestly, this explains so many real-life situations. Have you ever seen someone extremely talented get ignored, attacked, or pushed away? Sometimes it's not because they lack skill. It's because they threaten somebody's ego. Robert Greene explains that powerful people often want to feel superior. If someone beneath them appears smarter, more talented, or more admired, insecurity quietly appears. And honestly, social media has made this worse. Today, everybody wants attention, status, validation, and superiority online. People constantly compete for recognition without realizing it. This creates hidden tension everywhere. The book teaches that understanding ego is one of the most important survival skills in life. And honestly, I think this is true. Many conflicts are not really about logic. They're about pride, status, respect, emotional insecurity. Once you understand this, human behavior starts making much more sense. Another powerful law says, conceal your intentions. Now, honestly, this sounds manipulative at first, but Robert Greene explains that people become defensive when they fully understand someone's plans. History shows that many successful leaders achieve power through surprise, unpredictability, and strategy. Humans naturally try to protect themselves when they feel threatened. This is why revealing every plan too early can sometimes destroy opportunities. And honestly, social media completely encourages the opposite behavior today. People announce goals before achieving anything. They post every idea, every dream, every future plan online. But sometimes silence is power. Sometimes moving quietly protects energy, focus, and progress. One of the darkest but most realistic ideas in the book is that reputation is power. Robert Greene explains that reputation can influence opportunities before someone even speaks. And honestly, this is incredibly true in modern society. Online reputation shapes everything now. Followers, public image, influence, networking, careers, all connected perception. People don't always respond to reality itself. They respond to what they believe about reality. And honestly, that's scary, because perception often controls opportunities more than truth does. This is why brands spend billions creating image and identity. This is why influencers carefully design their personalities online. Reputation quietly shapes how society treats people. Another law says, always say less than necessary. Honestly, I think this is one of the smartest lessons in the entire book. Powerful people often speak carefully because excessive talking creates weakness. The more someone speaks, the more predictable they become. Silence creates mystery. Mystery creates psychological power. And honestly, modern culture has almost destroyed mystery completely. Social media encourages people to reveal everything constantly, emotions, arguments, relationships, opinions, insecurities, private thoughts. But the book explains that strategic silence can increase respect and control. People often fear what they cannot fully understand. One of the most emotional laws in the book explains how envy secretly controls human behavior. Robert Greene says people rarely admit envy openly. Instead, they disguise it as criticism, judgment, or dislike. And honestly, this explains so much online behavior today. Social media constantly exposes people to lifestyles, success, beauty, wealth, and attention they do not have. Over time, this creates silent resentment. Sometimes people don't attack others because they're evil. They attack because somebody else's success reminds them of their own insecurities. Honestly, once you understand this, many human interactions start making more sense. Not everybody wants to see others rise. Some people secretly feel satisfaction when successful individuals fail because it temporarily reduces their own feelings of inadequacy. The book also explains the importance of confidence and boldness. Robert Greene repeatedly shows throughout history that bold people often dominate fearful people psychologically. Humans naturally follow certainty. Even when somebody is not fully correct, confidence itself can influence crowds. And honestly, I think this is one of the reasons charismatic people become powerful. People emotionally trust confidence more than hesitation. But the book also warns about emotional impulsiveness. One law explains that emotional reactions create weakness because emotions cloud judgment. Angry decisions, revenge-driven behavior, emotional arguments, and impulsive actions often destroy long-term success. Honestly, this lesson feels even more important today because modern internet culture rewards emotional reactions constantly. Every day, people destroy reputations, careers, friendships, and opportunities because they react emotionally online. The book teaches that powerful individuals stay emotionally controlled while others lose control around them. And honestly, emotional self-control may be one of the rarest skills in modern society. Another major idea in the 48 Laws of Power is that humans are naturally attracted to pleasure and avoid pain. Powerful people understand this deeply. Instead of forcing others constantly, they influence desires, emotions, and incentives. And honestly, marketing today works exactly this way. Companies don't just sell products anymore. They sell identity, status, emotions, belonging, and dreams. The book also explains something extremely dangerous about power itself. Power changes people psychologically. Once individuals gain status, influence, money, or authority, they often become disconnected from reality. History repeatedly shows powerful leaders becoming arrogant, paranoid, isolated, or obsessed with control. And honestly, I think this is one of the deepest lessons in the book because it reveals that power itself can become addictive. Robert Greene constantly reminds readers that human nature rarely changes. Technology changes. Society changes. But emotions like greed, envy, ambition, insecurity, pride, and fear continue repeating throughout history. This is why many historical stories inside the book still feel relevant today. One of the most controversial parts of the book is that it does not divide people into good and evil in a simple way. Instead, it shows human beings as strategic creatures constantly navigating social hierarchies and emotional survival. And honestly, I think this is why some people find the book uncomfortable. It forces readers to confront realities about manipulation, ambition, and social behavior that society usually avoids discussing openly. But here's something important. The 48 Laws of Power is not necessarily telling people to become evil or manipulative. It's teaching awareness. Because whether someone likes it or not, power games already exist everywhere. In business, politics, entertainment, social circles, workplaces, relationships. Understanding these dynamics helps people avoid becoming naive. And honestly, I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming everybody thinks with pure intentions. The book repeatedly shows that appearances can be deceptive. Friendly people may hide ambition. Loyalty may disappear when status changes. Praise may secretly contain manipulation. Human behavior is often more complicated than it appears on the surface. One of the most powerful lessons from the book is the importance of self-control. People who cannot control their emotions become predictable. Predictable people become easier to manipulate. This is why calmness itself can become power. When everybody else reacts emotionally, the calm individual often gains psychological advantage. The book also explains why desperation creates weakness. Humans naturally sense emotional dependence. Whether in business, relationships, or negotiations, desperation reduces influence because it signals lack of options. Powerful people usually appear independent, calm, and difficult to control. And honestly, this explains why confidence is attractive in almost every area of life. People are naturally drawn toward emotional stability and certainty. But fake confidence eventually collapses if it lacks real discipline underneath. That's why true power often comes from self-mastery first. One of the darkest truths in the book is that many people secretly crave status more than happiness itself. Humans constantly compare themselves socially. They want recognition, importance, influence, validation, and superiority. And honestly, social media turned the psychological tendency into a global addiction. Followers, likes, views, luxury lifestyles, online attention, all connected to status competition. The scary part is that many people no longer even realize they are competing psychologically every day. They measure self-worth through comparison constantly. And according to the 48 laws of power, understanding status dynamics is essential because humans are deeply influenced by hierarchy, whether they admit it or not. Another unforgettable lesson from the book is that timing matters enormously. Robert Greene explains that knowing when to act is often more important than acting aggressively all the time. Many people fail not because they lack talent, but because they moved too early, reacted emotionally, or lacked patience. Honestly, patience may be one of the most underrated forms of power today. Modern culture encourages instant reactions, instant opinions, instant anger, and instant gratification. But strategic patience often creates stronger long-term outcomes. And maybe the biggest reason the 48 Laws of Power became world famous is because it reveals uncomfortable truths people secretly recognize deep down. Human beings are emotional, ambitious, insecure, competitive, prideful, and heavily influenced by perception. Power is not only about money or authority. It's about understanding psychology itself. The book forces readers to ask difficult questions. Asterisk, why do people seek power? Asterisk, why do humans crave validation? Asterisk, why does status influence behavior so strongly? Asterisk, why do envy and ego shape relationships? Asterisk, why are people so easily manipulated emotionally? And honestly, once someone starts noticing these patterns, it becomes impossible to unsee them. The 48 Laws of Power is ultimately a book about awareness. Awareness of manipulation, awareness of ego, awareness of ambition, awareness of social dynamics, awareness of human nature itself. And whether someone chooses to use these lessons ethically or manipulatively depends entirely on the person reading it. But one thing is certain. After reading this book, the world starts looking very different.